Really? Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and no guests.
Good evening.
Way earlier before when the meeting started, I approached some of the members from the audience. What's the first thing that comes into your mind when the word limit is given to you? Some of you said speed limit, but let me share with you some of the respondents. First one was our TME Jack. He responded to me with a motivational quote. What he said was, the first thing that comes to my brain is move beyond limits. And for Raihan, the relationship expert, he told me that beauty has no weight limits. And there's one more person in the audience that wished to remain anonymous and said something very deep that almost touched my life. There's no limit as high as your dreams. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
No guests, sorry. This evening, I will not spend 5 to 7 minutes talking about motivational quotes, but what Jack and Raihan and an anonymous person gave earlier was correct. But I'm just not going to focus on that particular point of view. But today, I'm going to switch by just sharing a few limits that we should obey and also tell you why we should obey them. Now, when I was young, I had the opportunity to travel a lot. And by a lot, I managed to travel to 26 countries before I turned 10 years old. That was before I turned 10 years old. From 10 to 18 years old, I only traveled to 5 countries. But that's not the point here. The point here is, when I travel, all my family members never miss going to a specific place. And this place is called the theme park. All my cousins love this place. They like to pay money and go play the rides. And I hate it. I hate it, I hate it, and I hate it. The reason why is because when my cousin go into the theme park, they get to play 10 rides. And when I go to the theme park, I only can play 3 rides. Or less than that when I was young. And there's a specific reason behind this. Every time when I want to go to a ride, the security guard will show me, I'm too short. When I was young, I was half of my height right now. And he said, boy, you short, you out, you don't play. And I was actually I felt very heartbroken. But when I was a young and cute boy, I was also a good boy. I was not a rebellious kid, and when the security guard said, no play, I really no play. So when all my cousins are busy playing, all I can do is stand aside and watch. But being a good boy and actually not playing and obeying the height limit, there's actually pros behind it. Last year at Universal Studios Singapore, there are 3 accidents that happened. And all these 3 accidents did not cause death, but it caused kids falling from 1-story height, falling from roller coaster to the ground, or either get injured while they're on the rides. And the whole point is because they bribe the security guards to let them play the rides, although they do not meet the height requirements. So Brandon is clever, be like Brandon. Now, like I said earlier, all my cousins can play the rides, but I cannot play the rides. So when they play, there's only one solution for me. I eat. When my cousins play, I eat. And when my cousins eat, I'm still eating. So, when I grow up, you guys should have a blurry image that I do not really grow a lot vertically, but I grow a lot horizontally. Not now, this is still horizontally, but I was more horizontal when I was younger. And the whole point is because I don't want to waste the money, so I love food courts from all over the theme park. But if I keep eating, there's this substance called the fat, and they like to develop in my belly. And as I grew up, I start to meet girls. Girls, not only one girl. I said girls, so multiple girls. And one day, I had a crush. I had a crush on someone. And there was perfectly no reason why I shouldn't say hi to her. I have such a cute face, I have such a And I also have a belly that's sticking out. That was me when I was young. It's hard to imagine now, but I literally have a belly that sticks out. And that was my only drawback, but I wasn't a loser. I go to the gym, and coincidentally this evening my gym buddy is not in the crowd, so I can't tell you how hard I work in the gym. But I actually go through all this no carbohydrate diet. I go be small like Gary over there, when the gym. And after months of going to the gym, I managed to lose that extra pounds. But the girls still didn't accept me. So there was no point. But what's the whole point that I share with you this story? What does this have to do with any limits? It was on this specific day, 15 June 2004, when I was at the airport. I want to check in to my flight that's flying to Taiwan, where I'm going on vacation with my parents. And there was a cute receptionist at the counter, which I'm checking in with. And she said, "Sir, you look very handsome today. And you're also overweight." Excuse me, I'm overweight. Yeah, sir, you packed a lot of baggage. You know what? You might even slow down the whole plane. Slow down the whole plane. I look at myself, I look at her, I look at myself, I look at her. I didn't even slow down the car that I traveled to the airport. How can I actually slow down the whole plane? And my mom from the back just slapped my head. Stop looking at your belly. You managed to lose fats at your belly, but you managed to pack more fats into your baggage. Baggage by meaning luggage. So basically, I misunderstand by looking at my belly, but instead I was actually overweight on the baggage scale. But again, the whole point is because when I go overweight on my baggage, not only I cause an embarrassment to myself and I might actually slow down the whole plane, I had to pay excess fines. And when speaking about paying excess fine, all of us here in the audience, the minimum age for us to be here is 18 years old. And most of us have acquired a special blue card. And that card, which I forget to put in my pocket, is called the driving license. When we have the driving license, we have moved on to another chapter in life. We have to obey a new limit, which is called the speed limit. Speed limit is something that I have a love and hate relationship with. When I grew up, I spent a lot of time with my cousins. And me and my cousins' age range are almost a decade away. So when I was 8, they're 18 years old. And obviously they got the privilege to drive before me. And hands up, all my cousins are like Michael Schumachers. And if you don't know who Michael Schumacher is, he's a race car driver. So, when I was young, one of my cousins asked me, what does the number at the side of the road mean? And he said, how about 100? What does 100 mean? And I said, you should drive below 100. And all my cousins laughed and said, oh, Brandon, you don't know anything at this age. You know, if you see 100, if you drive 99, you will get fined. But if you drive 101, you are safe. And to my surprise, all my cousins are very fast drivers and never get caught by the police and never get a speeding ticket. And I was so gullible, so I believed it. So on the day I got my first driving license, it was also the day I got my first speeding ticket. I was driving 85 km per hour on a 60 km per hour speed limit road. So hence I had to pay $300 on my first day of driving legally on the road. And if you make a second offense, you have to pay $5,000 and get thrown into jail for 2 weeks. So, fellow Toastmasters and guests, when I was young, I wasn't as tall and charming like Gary. I didn't get to play rights, and I wasn't as fit as I am right now. But I also managed to get a first speeding ticket on my first day while I drive. But if we only obey the speed limit, the weight limit, and the height limit, we don't even have to worry about our safetyness, or we don't even have to worry about our financial issue. So next time, if Jack tells you to move beyond your limits, tell him that if you move beyond your limits, make sure you don't exceed the speed limit. And when Ryan tells you beauty has no weight limit, tell him if something is slowing down the plane, something is wrong. And if Brandon tells you that there is no limit as high as your dream, tell him there is such thing as the height limit. Thank you and thank you, dear.
Thank you very much for our first prepared speaker, Brandon T. And now let's move on.